So I uploaded a video recently about non-dairy coffee creamer made with coconut milk, and I mentioned I was going to make a few more videos showing a couple of other dairy alternatives. The ones I'll do will all involve raw cashews, and I wanted to make a video on why our family doesn't eat dairy, because I know that that's going to come up and it's just going to be a lengthy comment to answer back to reply back to, and then there's going to be 4 videos, so wanted to just knock it out with this video. First of all, I just want to say, diet is such a drama with people. I don't know why. I understand the passion behind it, and I understand believing in what you believe and then doing what you believe, and that's as far as we need to take it. You believe what you believe, and you do what you believe, and you don't tell other people what they should believe, because no matter what, everything you look into, like what I tell you right now about why we don't eat dairy, if you look into dairy being good or bad for you, you're going to find a million reasons why people say it's good for you and a million reasons why people say it's bad for you. And then in the end, what are you left with? No answer. You have to choose what you're going to believe. So with all that research out there, what we've actually read, we believe that it's bad for you. So we don't eat it. So the arguments are usually, well, what about calcium? Every green vegetable has calcium in it. And calcium is, when you eat animal protein, which all dairy has, you actually lose all your calcium in your urine. So if you get a glass of milk and a head of broccoli and you measure the calcium, the glass of milk has more calcium, but it's animal protein, so you're going to lose it all. So you don't even retain the calcium. But if you eat the whole head of broccoli, there's no animal protein, you retain it. So you're actually getting more calcium eating the thing with less, because the animal protein is causing you to lose it all. Now, that's a study that I choose to believe. You may be totally opposed to that study and not believe it, and that's fine. Also, dairy is horrible for asthma, allergies, any bronchial issues whatsoever, cancer. It has inflammatory properties, so it inflames things. So if you have cancer, it is inflaming your cancer cells. It's feeding them. If you have allergies or asthma, bronchial stuff, anything like that, you're trying to not inflame, but deflame. And so you want to avoid dairy. Also, if you don't have cancer, it can feed cells that can become cancer cells later. And then those are the reasons why we don't eat dairy. The experiment that sold us is in Forks Over Knives. Check it out. The guy, Dr. can't remember his name, he did the study with rats where he fed them, I don't know, 20% of dairy maybe, for 3 weeks, and the cancer cells in the rats grew significantly. Then he dropped the dairy intake to 5% for 3 weeks, and they actually decreased in size. Then he upped it again to 20% for 3 weeks, and they inflamed again. Then he dropped it back to 5, and they decreased again. And he did this study. He repeated this study. He saw that someone had done it already years prior to him. Then he did it again, and when he saw that, he cut dairy out of his life forever and all animal protein. So he became completely vegan, and that experiment sold us. Also, just the studies that his main study, the China study, the diet in China versus our diet, and how their cancer percentages for all different kinds of cancer are unbelievably lower than ours, and their diet is mainly vegetables and grains, and they eat a little bit of meat, and their meat is like local, you know. And they did all these experiments in rural parts of China, not in the big cities that have McDonald's on every corner like us, because those parts of China are ending up just like us. Everything's going through the roof with cancer and stuff like that, just like us. So processed food, dairy, bad meat, we avoid that stuff. 100%? No. Right now, I have a stick of butter in my fridge. It's organic, but it's still not good. And I have a ball of mozzarella cheese. And the reason I have that is because sometimes I like to saute my onions in butter for like a butternut squash soup or a sweet potato soup or a potato and leek soup, and olive oil just isn't the same for those things, you know. But 1 tablespoon of butter every 3 weeks, or even further apart sometimes, is not the end of the world, not going to kill us. And then sometimes we have cheese because my kids don't like pizza with no cheese on it. I've tried it 1,000 times. It's not a battle I'm going to fight. Every other day they eat nothing but veggies and grains and seeds and good breads from home. I'm not going to make them eat a pizza with no cheese on it, because what's a few little bits of cheese gonna do? Kill them? You know, compared to what I used to eat, it's like perfection. So it's not the end of the world. I think any extreme is dangerous and stressful, and especially as a Christian where I fellowship frequently, we have people over frequently, we go over people's house frequently. We're not going to be like, we don't eat that everywhere we go. We're going to eat what's given to us and then just eat the way we want to eat at home, you know? So you got to be flexible and open-minded and not too rigid and extreme. And remember that one meal is not going to kill you. So that's why we don't eat dairy. And then the pros, okay, so calcium, animal protein, inflammatory stuff, the experiment. I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to say. I'm going to remember after I upload the video. But anyway, those are the main points, the big ones. The research behind it. And again, I always say this when I talk about food. Food is awesome. It's an eternal, it's a, it's a part of your life and it matters every day. But once this life is over, it's not going to matter what you ate. So yes, food, what you eat is going to make you feel better so you can enjoy this life more. But it's not of eternal value. So it's not the end of the world, you know, if we don't see eye to eye with somebody else or whatever, you know. So don't get so hung up on diet that you forget, you know, to focus on what matters in life, the things that last forever. It's not that big of a deal. You have to find a balance, a healthy balance of enjoying food, being free and flexible and not too tightly wound or uptight about it, but then also wise and try to, you know, make good decisions and feed your family well and take care of the body you've been given to live this life. There is a balance there somewhere, and I have the tendency sometimes to be extreme, and I have to pull myself back and just remember it's not eternal. It's not an eternal issue. So yeah, and there's no 100% answer because there's always studies showing a million different views about everything. So we don't eat soy, but there's people that do, and why they do is because they choose to believe the studies they researched, and we choose to believe the studies we researched about dairy, about soy, about processed foods, about genetically modified stuff. And then other people, everybody has different things that they're trying to accomplish in their diet. So find yours, and I hope that the non-dairy alternatives will be helpful to you. Have a wonderful day.